Okay, good evening, CAT students. Thank you very much for being here. My name's Alan Flint, and I'm going to be presenting the lesson today. I really appreciate your commitment to the class, and thank you very much for attending the classes, even though it's late in the evening. Yeah, it's great to be here with you guys, and I hope that this would be a useful lesson, and then it's going to benefit you in your schooling. If you have been with us for the last while, you would have, or you should realize that some of the or all of the videos are available on YouTube. So if you have missed out on any of the lessons and you want to catch up on any of the work, you're more than welcome to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Africa Teen Geeks, and then you can catch up on any of the lessons that you may have missed. If you have any contents, questions, or sections of work that you really don't understand, please also feel free to send me an email, aflint@newtonhouse.co.za. I'll share that with you at the end of the lesson, and you can ask any questions about content that we're doing today or previous work that we have done. And if you need some guidelines or extra tips on any of the content, then yeah, just send me an email. Also, if you want any activities or homework to do, yeah, also please pop me an email and I'll send you some resources, possibly past papers that you can also work through. And I'm also happy to mark those for you. And yeah, you can kind of see how you are progressing through the CAT content. If you have any questions throughout the lesson today, or you think that I'm going too fast, or you'd like me to slow down or explain a concept again, please just pop a message into the chat and I will take notes of that message and then assist you where I can. Okay, so what we are doing today is we are looking at HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. And this is the programming language that we use in CAT in grade 11 and grade 12. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what we covered so far. So in the lessons on Monday, Tuesday, exactly what we covered so that you are reminded of the work that we have done and so that it can kind of benefit you as we go forward as well. So just in terms of the basics of HTML, the HTML, what it stands for is Hypertext Markup Language. And like we said, this is a program language or a markup language used for creating websites. Now, the websites that we create do not automatically go live, so people can't actually just view them on the internet. You first have to provide an e-host with your HTML file, and then they'll provide you with a domain name. So the websites that we are creating are basically just text files, and they are electronic documents which can be viewed by yourself or anybody that has access to that specific file on the web. Okay, so HTML, like we said, is used to create electronic documents, and these are displayed on the World Wide Web. How does HTML work? Remember that we have been working with small, short codes, and these codes need to be structured in a specific way. And these short codes that we use are known as tags. And a reminder that we get a whole lot of different tags that we can use. And we've looked at some of the basic tags so far and how to kind of structure your HTML file. Once the text is saved as an HTML file, we can then view it through a browser, and these browsers include Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. This over here is a simple example of what an HTML file looks like. You'll notice that this HTML file was created in Notepad. And the HTML files that we create are in Notepad++. So that's the program that we have been using. There is a link if you'd like to download that program. It's free and it's really helpful in creating your HTML files. This again is your basic structure of your HTML file with your HTML opening tag at the top and then your HTML closing tag. Just a reminder that all the tags that we create must have an opening tag as well as a closing tag. There are a few exceptions like the horizontal line and the break, the line break, as well as the image tag. However, the majority of them require an opening tag as well as a closing tag. The opening tag is represented by the name of the tag, and then the closing tag has always got that / just before the name of the tag. What we are going to do today is we're just going to look at some of the various tags, and we had a look at some of them yesterday. But what we'll do is we'll look at some more of those tags and kind of how to structure and create our own websites. And then what we'll do is we'll look at what the purpose of each tag is in an HTML file. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to guide you through just the structure and the way to set up an HTML file, as well as looking at some attributes that we can insert into a tag. Okay, so we had a look at some of the tags yesterday. We had a look at HTML tag, which is a structural tag. I'm just going to run through these briefly because this is a bit of revision from yesterday. We had a look at the head tag, which is also a structural tag, and this gives instructions to the browser. We then had a look at the title tag, and this title tag contains the title of your web page. We then had a look at the body tag. The body tag contains all the images, the text, the paragraphs, all the content of your website is going to be contained within the body tag. And we also had a look at the paragraph tag, and the paragraph tag is generally found within the body tag, and it's essentially where you would type any sort of paragraph. And if you'd like to space certain sections of work, you would use a paragraph tag, opening and closing tag. And then your line break tag automatically adds a line break, which is useful when you want to separate lines from each other. And this is one of the structural tags that only has a single tag. It doesn't have an opening tag and a closing tag. It's just a single tag. And then we got into our formatting tags. So we first had a look at all of our structural tags that provide the structure for our HTML file. And we then had a look at our formatting tags. So we had some of the heading tags. The heading tags included H1 all the way to H6. So this includes H2, H3, H4, H5. And H1 stands for heading. So it's the biggest heading that you can create within a HTML file. And H6 is your smallest type of heading that you can create. Some of the other formatting tags that we got and that we had a look at was the bold tag, which makes the text bold within an HTML file. And then the U tag, which makes the text underlined. And what this does is obviously underline the text within an HTML file. We then had a look at the italics tag, and the italics tag makes a text italics within a HTML file. And then the horizontal line, which essentially just adds a horizontal line across the page that you are working on. And then what we're going to look at today is the comment tag. So a comment tag basically is a note to yourself, and the comment tag will not appear inside your websites. So what we are going to do is we're going to open up Notepad++, and we are going to start creating our websites over here. And you'll notice that we have already created one website. This is the first one that we created, and that was just basic structure for your website. And we created a second one yesterday, a little bit more complex, and we added some of the tags that we had a look at yesterday. And what we are going to do is we're just going to make it even a little bit more complex over here. And the reason why I'd like to start from the beginning is just to kind of give you guys a rundown again of how to create your HTML file. This is often a concept and a section of work that a lot of the students that take CAT struggle with. They really battle with HTML, and I think if you guys can get a good format, a good foundation on HTML, and you really understand it, and you go through the basics over and over again, it becomes a lot easier to identify what you are doing, and also becomes a lot easier to answer questions in exams and in tests. So our first tag that we always start with is our HTML tag. If you like to answer the questions and just kind of make comments in the chat about the tags that come next, then you're also more than welcome to. So a reminder that this is our opening tag. We always start with the HTML tag over here. Now, I recommend that you put the HTML opening tag and the HTML closing tag right after each other. And the reason why we do this is so that we don't forget to put it in at the end. And what I'm just going to do next to each one of these tags that I create is I'm just going to insert a comment, just so that you can see how the comments work, but also kind of represents what each one of these is. So I'm going to type in your first tag, and I am going to say that it is the beginning of the HTML file. And I'm going to close that over here, and I close that like that. And what you'll notice is that all my text over here is in black, and that's sometimes a little bit confusing, and it's difficult to kind of identify exactly what we're doing. But the great thing about Notepad++, and this is why I recommend that you actually download Notepad++ to use it, is that once you have saved your file, it then highlights and color coordinates most of your tags so that you can actually see if you've made an error within the file. So you'll notice over here that my new document that I've just created is still red, which means that it has not been saved. And this will happen constantly throughout the file that you're working with. If you don't save your work, that little save icon over there will turn red. So I'll click over here on the save button. Because I'm saving it for the first time, it's going to ask me for a location and for a name of the file that I'm creating. Okay, and I'm just going to save it to my desktop, and I'll save it the date, 3rd June 2020, Africa Team Geeks. And I'm going to save it as a .html file so that the web browser is able to identify the type of file that it's working with. A reminder that this over here, .html, is the file extension. Now, every single document that you work with, whether it's Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access, or PowerPoint, has got its own unique file extension. So if you're working with a Microsoft Word document, it will be .docx. If you're working with an Excel document, it will be .xlsx. If you're working with a PowerPoint document, the file extension will be .pptx. And if you're working with an Access file, your file extension will be .access DB. So the bit that I have highlighted over here is known as the file extension. And essentially what that does is it allocates a specific program that the file will be allowed to open in. So very important that you do insert that over there. So I'm going to click on save. I've got my file name, my file extension, as well as saving the file as an all types type of file. And you'll notice immediately over here that my tags are now color coordinated. I've got the comment over here, which is not going to appear in my website. And let's create another comment over here. Last tag and end of, I said odd over there, of the end of the HTML file. Sorry, my typing's not great there. And closing comments looks like that. Okay, so this over here is a comment. That entire thing over there is a comment, and it's not going to appear in my website. It's basically just a note to myself about what I've just created. If I deleted this over here, it would, or let's just copy it so that I can still have it available. This is what a comment would generally look like. Obviously, we need to put something inside the comments. This would be your opening tag of your comments and essentially your closing tag of the comments. Okay, again, you'll notice that the file that I'm working on, or the tab that I'm currently working on, is red, which means that I can save it over here and it automatically saves. What I like to do in HTML is I like to create a bit of space and a bit of room for myself to work. So I do create some spaces so that it is a little bit evenly spaced out and that I can actually see what's going on. The next tag that I'm inserting is a head tag, and that basically gives instructions to the web browser. It's essentially my heading over here. And what happens inside the head tag, is I put my title tag. I'm going to put an opening title tag. And what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to create a heading for my documents, or sorry, a title for my HTML file. And I'm going to create a title, a closing tag over there. And that will be my heading, or not my heading, sorry, my title for the website that I'm creating. So I'm going to save it over here, and basically now what will happen is if I decide that I'd like to run this website or open it up, this over here will be my title for my website, and it will appear in the tag. So in the tab, not the tag. Okay, so let's have a look at what it looks like. So far it is, these are the 3 websites that I've created. And it's called 3rd of June 2020 ATG. I'm going to open it up in the web browser. And you'll notice that the title appears in the tab over here, June 2020. And it's important for you guys to just keep this web browser open. Instead of closing it and opening it every single time, it's easier just to kind of reload your page if you have made changes to your documents. Okay, so let's say that I change this one over here to Africa Team Geeks 2020. So I've changed the title of the website now. And I go to my web page and I reload this page. Oh, sorry, I need to save it first. You'll notice here it's still red over here. I guess that's a good point to make. I've made a change over here. I haven't saved it. And I've tried to reload my website, and you notice that nothing changes. However, if I go back over here and I save it, and my save icon turns blue, and I reload my page, you'll notice that the title changes to ATG 2020. Okay, so I've created a a basic structure over here for my websites, which is okay. What I need to do now is I need to insert a body opening tag and a body closing tag. You'll notice over here what I've done is I've put in an opening tag for body and I've put in a closing tag. However, I have not closed it with that right arrow over there. And immediately you can see that there's an error that comes up, that the HTML is now in red. The tag should always be in blue if they're matching up. So my HTML tags match up, my head tags match up, my title tags match up, my body tags match up. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a heading over here. My first heading that I'm going to create is going to be the largest one. So the largest type of heading that I create is H1, and I'm going to call that ATG. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a closing tag around that, and that will be my heading over there. Now a reminder that you can kind of separate the spaces in your HTML file as much as you want. I could create 20 lines over here. It's still not going to affect my HTML file. It doesn't really matter how much the spacing you create. It's all up to you. Just so long as it falls within your tag, that's fine. So I'm going to save it. And what's nice to see is to kind of make a change to your web page and then to save it and then go back to your web browser and kind of see how it's updated. So you'll notice that previously there was nothing over here. So I'm just going to copy this, delete it, and then go back to my web browser and refresh. Oh, sorry, I need to save first. Go back to my web browser. You'll notice that there's nothing over here. And then once I insert something and then save it and go back to my web browser and reload the page, you'll notice that a heading appears over there. Okay. And what I want to do underneath ATG is I want to just put the date. So I'm going to make it in a smaller heading, almost like a subheading, and I'll change that to H2. H2 is slightly smaller than H1, and obviously it goes all the way down to H6. So 2020 over there as my heading. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in H2 as my second heading, and I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go back to my web browser, and you'll notice that I've got a heading over there, ATG 2020. I'm going to use just another tag over here just to kind of center these headings. So I'm going to center them over here. And I can use this, however, I'm going to show you a different technique in tomorrow's lesson that we can use in order to center a line of text. So I'm going to put that center around over there. I'm going to put it around that, and I'm going to put it around H2 over there. So what I've done is I've created a center tag around H1 and a center tag around H2. And what you'll notice if I go to my web browser, everything's aligned to the left. If I change it and I save it over here, everything should move to the center of my screen, which is a little bit more aligned, and you can kind of see it's a little bit easier to kind of navigate around your websites. It's very important that when you do start creating websites that you take into consideration the readability of your websites and how easy it is to navigate around your websites. If you start creating a website and it's difficult for the user to see what's going on, if it's difficult for them to find words and your headings aren't really standing out and possibly the writing is not spaced out that nicely, the user won't enjoy kind of visiting the website. Okay, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint over here. I'm just going to look at a couple of other tags that we can use. Reminder that we got the comments tag over here. And one of the other structural tags that we can use is our horizontal line, which should be a formatting tag. Okay, it's the HR tag, which looks like this. So we've got an HR tag, it's a no end tag, and it adds a horizontal line across the page. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and insert this horizontal line across the page and just kind of see how it works as well. So you'll notice that we don't have anything over here. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to add HR and closing tag over there. And let's just have a look and see if this works. There we go. So now what I've got is I've got my first heading over here, H1. I've got H2 over here, and I've got a horizontal line across my page, which basically, again, structures your websites quite nicely, which means that, you know, if you want to create different sections within your website, you can use a horizontal line to kind of break sections up as well. Okay, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to create a couple of comments over here. The comments are important, again, like I said, to note things to ourselves. You'll notice that I put in the opening tag of the comments, and everything else in the website went green, which basically means that everything is a website. Sorry, everything is a comment. So if I save it over here, you'll notice, and I go back over here and reload my page, nothing's going to appear. Which was obviously a mistake. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that I put in my closing tag as well, and you'll notice everything turns back to the original color. Head, this one gives instructions. Instructions to web browser. And I'm just going to save it over there, and this is our opening tag. Opening head tag, and over here I'll put in another comment over here, and I'll say closing and close my comments over there. Now, the reason why I want to show you how to put in these comments is because when you're writing tests and when you're writing exams, you'll generally be asked a question within a comment. So you generally won't be asked to create a website from scratch. They'll generally give you an HTML file with a whole lot of paragraphs and a whole lot of words within it, and then they'll ask you to edit it from there. Now, when they do that, what generally happens is they place a question within a comment. So they'll say like this, the examiner might say place answer to question 6.1 here. And now what you need to obviously understand is that that means that obviously the answer to 6.1 must either go in this line over here or just underneath it. Now, this is, again, it's something that a lot of the students struggle with, that they see all this green writing and they don't actually know what it represents. They think it belongs to the HTML file, which in fact it does, but it's not going to really appear in your web browser when you open it. So please take note of this green writing, that it needs to have an opening tag and it needs to have a closing tag as well. So I'm just going to kind of give it myself a little bit more space so that I can see exactly what's going on over here. I've got my HTML tag, I've got my head tags, I've got my title tag, I've got my body tag, which is going to contain the contents of my website, and then I've got two headings that I've created in there. What I'm going to do now is you probably go back to this website over here. Okay, let's just save it, and then I need to refresh the web browser, and everything's back to normal over here. Now, what you might be saying is, you might be saying, okay, this looks quite plain. This looks quite plain. Is there not anything else that I can do to this website to make it look a little bit more attractive? And you are able to do that, and that's something that we're going to look at in later sections, where you are actually able to change the font of your website. You are able to change the color of your website. You can change the color of this line. You can change the thickness of the line. You can add images. However, we're not going to get to that just yet because that's kind of beyond where we are at the moment. However, I will show you just kind of a few things in terms of how to change certain things within your website and just kind of the way that it looks. Now, what we've had a look at so far is we've had a look at how to kind of structure your website, and we've had a look at specific tags. Now, the complicated thing comes in when we have to, change what the actual website looks like. And how we do that is by using what's called attributes. Now, the attributes actually are found within the tags. So it's basically what we've got over here, an HTML file. We've then got tags inside the HTML file, and within the tags, we find attributes. Now, like I said, this is a little bit complicated. So it's basically like a bag within a bag within a bag, if I can put it that way, or an object within an object within an object. We got the HTML file, which is this entire document over here. We got the tags, which is inside the entire document, and then the attributes, which are found within the tags. Now, if you can get your head around that sort of concept, then you're going to be really, really winning at HTML. Now, a lot of kids don't understand where these attributes need to be placed, and they often just place the attributes in no man's land, or they just don't put it within a tag. And this is a major thing that throws your marks off in HTML. So I'm just going to quickly show you an example of an HTML attribute. If you don't get it first time, don't worry, we're still going to spend a lot of time doing it. But I'm just going to show you quickly what an attribute looks like. So I've currently got my entire HTML file over here. The HTML file's name is 3 June 2020 atg.html. That is the file name, the HTML file. Within that file, I have got tags. I've got the head HTML tag, head tag, title tag, body tag, center tag, H1 tag, and HR tag. So I've got a whole lot of tags within my HTML file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my website over here, and I'm going to say, listen, it looks quite bland like this. I'd like to add some color. How I'm going to change the color of the website is really, really important, because the color will not appear in the head or the title. The color will be changed within the body of the website. And how we do this is by using attributes that can be placed within the the body tag. And we are going to call it BG color equals, and I'm going to change the website to blue. So what I've done there, now this is what becomes a little bit complicated. BG color is my attribute, and BG stands for background, the background color of my website. This is the attribute's name, and this over here in the quotation marks is the attribute's value. Okay, so the attribute's name and the attribute's value that I've just created over here. This entire thing over here is called an attribute, and the attribute needs to go within the tag of needs to go inside a tag. And because it's the background color of the website, we place it inside the body tag. However, there are attributes that can go anywhere else. There can be attributes in your heading. There can be attributes in your alignment. There can be other attributes as well. So again, this over here is my body tag, and this is my closing body tag. this entire thing over here is my attributes. This is my attributes name, BG color, and this is my attributes value. The value of the attribute always needs to be in quotation marks. And there are a whole lot of different attributes that we can use and that we can play with. And yeah, just to kind of make things a little bit more creative on our website. So I'm going to go to my website, and you'll notice that it's white over here. The entire website page is white. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to add this attribute over here, which I've currently done. You'll notice that the attribute still is found within the tag. So this would be wrong. Okay, if I did it like this, and this is what a lot of students do. They've still got the body tag over here. However, they place the attributes outside the tag. And you'll notice that the attribute now has lost its color, which is not a good thing. You don't want to lose any color in your HTML file. The attribute is found within the tag. I will save the file and then go to my website, refresh it, and you'll notice that my website is now turned blue. Okay, so I'm going to go back and let's see if we can change to some other colors. Let's change it to yellow. So now I'm going to change it to yellow. I will save the file and refresh, and it turns to yellow. So this is really a nice creative way that you can kind of change up your website and yeah, make it look a little bit more creative. You can also create paragraphs, and you can change the paragraphs color. So I mean, obviously standardized websites would have one general color, and that's where I guess the readability and the user friendliness of the website really comes into play. When you want to create a website, you want to make sure that it's user friendly and that it's not really hard on the eye and difficult for people to read. So you don't, I mean, there's only standard colors that you can use within HTML. So I don't know, if you're looking for like some weird color and you can't find it, or you type it in, it might not actually work within HTML. So there are standard colors that you can use. Like you can use black. Let's go here. This is probably going to make everything just turn black, and you won't be able to see anything except for the horizontal line. Yeah, so you can do that, and that kind of adds a little bit of color to your website. Let's go with pink. Save it and refresh, and it's kind of like a pinkish color. Okay, so that is a little bit about attributes and how to kind of change your website up a little bit. And these are most of the tags that we've currently used. Just a reminder about some of the other ones that you can create. I'm going to go back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my first paragraph over here. A reminder that the paragraph needs to have an opening tag as well as a closing tag. I mean, you can place your tags next to each other just like this, or you can place them underneath each other. It's up to you, just so long as they are an opening tag and a closing tag. Make this bold, and I'm going to do over here another paragraph. Let's make it italics. And then my last paragraph, make it underlined. And then close my paragraph over here. And you'll notice that I should have 3 lines now in my website. Currently don't have anything over there. I should have these ones on 3 separate lines, on 3 different paragraphs with spaces in between them as well. And there we go. I got bold, italics, underlined in little spaces underneath them, each other. And what I'll do over here is I will just, let's make this one bold. Remember that the B is a formatting tag that allows us to make something bold. And I'll put that within the paragraph. And then I'll refresh the page, and now you'll notice that the bold word actually turns to bold. And I can do that with italics as well. I'll change that to I. and then an I closing tag as well, and then refresh that. Oh, sorry, save that. Go back to my website, and oh, I don't think I've closed that tag over there. Oh, I put that there. So like you can always go back and kind of see where you've made a mistake. What I didn't do there is I didn't put the closing tag around in front of the I. I put it behind the I, and it kind of made the underlined italics as well. So kind of you can go back and kind of identify where mistakes have been made, and yeah, kind of fix up those mistakes as well. Luckily, you know, once you've seen your final product and looking at HTML files, they kind of give you an indication of where the mistake is. Like if I delete that P over there, you'll notice that this P doesn't highlight, and those ones do. So there's kind of a mistake over there. So I'll refresh this page over here, and then I will do that. Now that's bold, that's italics, and that's underlined. I've got a nice pinkish color, and I've changed, I've got a horizontal line over there, and I've pretty much used all the tags that we have looked at to create a website over there. Okay, guys, thank you very much for being here tonight. If you have any questions, please just a reminder to send me an email. Let me just put my email address up over here. This is the website, this is the program that we use, Notepad++. It's got a little chameleon on it. I can post the download for you if you need it. What we're going to look at tomorrow again is simply how to create your own web page. We'll be doing a little bit more of this, and we'll also be looking at a couple more attributes just to kind of add to the creativity of your website. If you do have any questions, please contact me, aflint@newtonhouse.co.za, and I'll gladly answer any of the questions that you have. Thanks very much for being here, and enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow.